This is Boston Chris, and thanks for checking out this episode of the ETX ROCKS Show featuring Hope Cassity. This is Boston Chris with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show.
Louise here.
Descript.
Featuring all genres and styles of entertainment.
And want me to call it ETX ROCKS.
Let's hear it from Louise, please.
From the unheralded and unheard to the legends and beyond.
Out of the box with ETX ROCKS.
It's awesome.
We keep them coming.
$5, that's pocket change.
Well, hey, y'all, this is Haley McDaniel. Are y'all ready for this?
ETX ROCKS Show is the greatest show of all time, okay?
We are ETX ROCKS.
The ETX ROCKS Show is the best show of all time, say? The other shows, you're good, you're real good. But as long as we're around, you'll be second best, say?
Cut.
Hey, this is Scott Brown with Scooter Brown Band. Thanks for tuning in to the ETS ROCKS Show.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with another amazing episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. And we have a little bit of a spontaneous, spur-of-the-moment interview here. It is currently October 2nd. I don't know when this is coming out, but it's October 2nd. And last night, one of the worst things we've ever witnessed occurred in Las Vegas. And I know Hope's been on the road for about 11 hours or so trying to get here to East Texas, and this was all going down last night and today. And I know, personally speaking, all my thoughts and prayers and everything is to anybody affected by Las Vegas. Just unbelievable stuff. And then to find out about Tom Petty today as well.
Yeah, it's just like sucker punch to the gut today. It's one of those music hurts days,
And
you know.
it just doesn't make any sense. And hopefully we'll figure out, someone will figure out what's going down.
Something that brings everybody together and heals people. That's what hurts me the most,
Right.
is that they use that platform,
And I guess the only good thing that does come out of it is people are reacting in a unified way.
Right.
There's no divisiveness in it, and people
And
are
I
coming
love
to.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And it does show the good side of the country and the bad side of the country at the same time.
I was actually listening to the Nashville vigil for it on the way over, and Vince Gill sang "Go Rest High on That Mountain."
Oh man.
And that was
No
actually
wonder why
played at
you're-
my dad's funeral, and that's why I was
Yeah.
like, I feel so heavy right now.
No
you
wonder
know,
why
but-
you're choking up.
Woo!
That song will do it to you by itself.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me introduce you guys to our guest this week. This is Miss Hope Cassity. She's actually a resident of Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Nashville, and I guess the southeastern side of the country. She's doing a lot of stuff in the Carolinas as well.
Yeah.
You've won is it the North Carolina Music Awards that you won?
Nashville Country Music.
Oh, okay. So that's what
It's
the
for-
NC stands
Yeah,
for.
it's for independent artists who work hard and show and make waves as an independent
Very
artist
cool,
in
very
Nashville.
cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are a ton of independent artists in Nashville, so congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thank
Now, Hope was actually referred to us by one of our favorite folks in the entire world, and this had a little, you guys might know Heather from being on the show a little bit earlier this year, and also Heather is just an amazing songwriter, an incredible vocalist. And so when Heather messages me and says, hey, Boston, I know somebody who's coming through town that you need to meet. So when that happens, I take notice. And so basically Heather Little kind of recommended us to each other. And here we are with Hope Cassity in the ETX ROCKS Show studio / living room. Yeah. So Hope's got her guitar with her, and like I said, she's just been on the road for 11 hours driving from Georgia to East Texas, but she's still going to play us a song or two. So tell us about the first song and how it came about.
So I met Rob Redwine years ago through Fort Worth music scene, and we became writing partners. And the truth was, up until this song, we had never really been in the same room together when we finished a co-write. Like,
Right.
He's in Texas and I'm in Atlanta or Nashville.
So you guys are like
and we're
co-writing through
texting
Skype
stuff.
or
Yeah, we're
text and-
texting stuff back and forth, and I came to write with him, and he was just showing me some songs, and he's like, hey, these are ones I finished or whatever, let me play this for you. And he's like midstream in the song, and I was like, Rob, I have to sing this song.
Yeah.
Like, my heart, to me, and I know that he probably wrote it because he had heart problems, and if he only had a heart, he has a...
I don't know. Now, Rob
Yeah.
Redwine, if you guys are following along with the show, you might know that Rob is not exactly known for a love song. Now,
Right.
Rob is a hell of a songwriter, don't get me wrong, but he's more known for, like, story time. And, like, every one of his songs is like a movie. like
Yeah.
in a song.
Yep.
So I think the first time I knew that If I Only Had a Heart was a thing for Rob, I was like,
Yeah.
wait, you wrote a love song? And he was like, no, trust me. So,
Yeah.
you know, we checked it out. Of course, it's an amazing song. It's a Rob Redwine original, so it must be.
Yeah.
And, you know, when Heather introduced us, I had no idea that you even knew Rob.
Yeah.
And so the first thing she says to me is, I have a new single coming out. It's written by Rob Redwine. And I was like, wait a minute, if it's the one I think it is. And then sure enough, it was If I Only Had a Heart.
Yeah.
And of course, this song, if you had listened to the episode with Rob Redwine, was inspired by The Wizard of Oz, believe it or not. I don't know if you saw that story with him. But this is now going to be Hope Cassity's next single, right?
Yeah, and like with him, I like know that he comes from a totally different place as me, and so where I took it emotionally was when he was playing the song. What I was hearing was all the things in my life that had numbed me to the pain
Right.
of a heartbreak. And so, like, you know, losing my dad or, you know, things I went through in my life, I was like, you know, it numbed me to the point where you don't feel like you have that
Right.
heart anymore. That
Right.
heartbeat kind of goes away.
All right, guys, so y'all check this out. This is I Hope You Had a Heart. Is it
If I only had a
If I
heart.
Only Had a Heart?
That I don't know what it feels like to hurt when you're down on your knees. You're bound to get up with the hurt. More than a feeling, more than pain. Just like the sunshine, it comes with the rain. And I'm back here again, blue as a brew. And I guess you will win, and I guess I lose. More than emotion, right from the start. I guess it'd be broken if I only had a heart. Honey, I'm feeling numb. I see my hands start to shake, much like the Tin Man. He never felt his heart break. So please watch me fall on the path laid to us. I didn't care for the city, I didn't care for his loss. And I'm back here again, blue as a brew. And I guess you will win, and I guess I lose. More than emotion, right from the start. Well, I guess it'd be broken if I only had a heart. 'Cause I'm back here again, blue as a brew. And I guess you will win, and I guess I'll lose. More than emotion, right from
All right, so we are back. That was If I Only Had a Heart by Hope Cassity. All right, so y'all please check out these messages from our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't be able to keep this show free for you guys out there, so make sure you're following along with them. We'll be right back after this message.
That a rich girl like you, she ain't never tried. Hey, this is Scott Connor, and you're listening to East Texas Rocks. In the background, they're playing my brand new single, Ride With Me. You guys can find me at scottconnor.com. That's Connor, C-O-N-E-R, just one N. You can go to Facebook at Scott Connor Music. You can buy my music at CD Baby or iTunes. You can even listen to it at Spotify. Mostly, I just wanted to tell you guys I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you down there in Texas. And we appreciate East Texas Rocks. Take care. She cocked her pretty little head with a pretty smile in her eyes. She said that sounds pretty good, but you need to realize I'm just in town for a minute. I have me $10, but I just now spent it. And these fancy clothes, they belong to a friend of mine.
Hey everybody, this is Sammy Brazier at the School of Music 101. We are a full-service music store. We service everything we sell here. We do guitar repair, strings, whatever you need your intonation set on your guitar, bring it in. We do it right here. We sell new and used guitars, amp sets. Trade-ins are welcome. Bring your old gear in and get some new gear. Come on. We're doing guitar lessons, bass lessons, keyboard, drum, trumpet. We have some of the best teachers in East Texas. Terry Salyer's been with us. Toby Phillips. I have Daryl Gann on keyboard. Val Nell. All styles of music. We like to have fun with music, and we teach them, songs that they want to learn, and maybe a little music theory mixed in there with it. But we try to make it fun. We have 2 recitals a year. We're also going to do a battle of the bands, a battle of the lead guitar players. We're starting a new program that's called Garage Band, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some of these young people together, and they can form a band. And after a couple of months of them rehearsing with a mentor as a band, we will let them play at a local venue and invite their parents out and things like that, just to try to make it fun for them. The first lesson is on us. It's free, so come on out, sign up. And by the way, we have a special this month. If you don't own a guitar, you don't own an instrument, we're going to furnish one for you so you can see if you like taking lessons and maybe you want to pursue it and buy that instrument or another one somewhere. We also have a video production company. If you need them to come out and do your birthday or your graduation, whatever, we can provide it for you. Here are some of the students that make us really feel good about teaching. Some of the success stories, for instance, Allie Venable. She started when she was 12 years old. She's doing records. She's playing all over the country. Reese Malone, who started when he was maybe 10 years old. I can remember him coming in at 10 years old and wanting me to show him some Jeff Beck. So I knew he was going to be good. The store is open weekdays Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays we're open 11 to 3. We're located in Hallsville, Texas, 300 East Main Street, Hallsville, Texas.
I'm Lauren's mom, Susan. We started lessons about 6 weeks ago. Heard about him through a friend, and it's just been a really good experience. She's enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next lesson.
Y'all come on down and see Amy. She's at the School of Music. You'll probably find her behind the cash register. The store number is 903-660-7333. If you can't get us there, call me on my cell, 903-987-9639. We are School of Music 101, where school is cool.
Hi, I'm Heather Little. Thank you for tuning in to ETX Rocks.
All right, so we are back, and we're sitting here with Hope Cassity. First time on the ETX ROCKS Show.
Yay.
And I mean, what are the chances that you and I would ever get to meet with you over in Atlanta, me here in East Texas?
I know. It's a small
and yet
world.
we have some of the coolest mutual friends ever.
I think so. I would claim those two as
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Definitely.
I mean, like 2 of the best songwriters on the
Yeah.
planet, anywhere. I'm not just in Texas, but really anywhere.
That's the coolest part of my job. I get to meet like uber talented people and,
Yeah,
wish I was them.
Right. The only difference is you're uber talented in your own right.
Thank
You
you.
can play guitar. I can barely click a pen in rhythm, as folks out there know. I'm not musically inclined. But as a fan, I guess I show a lot of passion for musicians, and I guess that's why the show works.
Awesome.
So, I mean, speaking about that passion level for music, you really started out really, really young. At like 6 years old, 7 years old?
Yeah.
So how did that all start about? Did you find an 8-track player? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I tell this story at most of my shows because it was a random, like we moved into this new house and, you know, my mom's cleaning out the attic and we found an old 8-track tape player and there were 3 cassettes, Patsy Cline, Elvis Presley, and Loretta Lynn. And that is the reason I sing, because I had nothing, like we didn't even own a radio. And when we found the 8-track tape player, like I plugged it up in my room and was glued to it. And I learned
Well, I mean,
all
if
the
you
songs.
could find 3 artists, I would say Patsy Cline, Elvis Presley, Loretta Lynn is probably
Not
a pretty
bad at
good
all.
start.
Not
Yeah,
bad at
like
all.
if it was, you know, like Frank Zappa and, I don't know, just like random obscure artists, you might have been like, no. But no, I like Frank Zappa. Frank, don't sue me if you're still alive. So, I mean, just you know, finding those cassette tapes, you know, 8-track tapes, just started you down that path. There was was there any kind of musical influences within your family?
No, my mom actually, she said, you must have been able to hear pitch really young, because when I would sing you your lullabies, you would say, Mommy, don't sing that song, because she couldn't sing on pitch very well.
So you were already a celebrity judge.
I was just hearing the off notes. I was like, no, I don't like that song. That's not very good. But yeah, I started off, she stuck me on that show, Star Search.
Really?
With Ed McMahon. And I made it a couple weeks through, and then they brought up this kid that was about 5 years old and played the piano like Jerry Lee Lewis and sang Great Balls of Fire. And I didn't play an instrument, and I was singing to a karaoke tape, so he beat me.
I think I remember that.
That was me. In the silk uniform with like fringe everywhere that my mother made. Yes.
Wow, so that was like
me.
that was the first Star Search, not the Sawyer Brown later on Star Search, but the original Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
Wow. We're not showing our age at all, guys.
Yeah, no American Idol here. It was
right.
It was Star Search.
That was the original like talent show
Yeah.
for like primetime TV.
4 stars.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had the
1
comedians
3/4
and
stars.
yeah, they had the comedians and dancers
Yeah.
and all of that stuff on there. I think Dave Coulier was on that show. One of my favorite comedians
cool.
from Full House.
Oh wow, that's
He played
great.
what was it, Uncle
Yeah.
Joey.
Joey.
No, it was Uncle Joey that he played. Joey Gladstone. I don't know. I'm off on a tangent. Don't mind me out there, guys. So I mean, you know, did you realize right away that it was because maybe you didn't play an instrument that you didn't have the success you thought you might get?
I don't know. Like as a kid, I was broken. You know, I think you don't go through
So you
those
weren't really
things.
looking for logic behind it.
No, I mean, like as a kid, I was just like, okay, you know, he's better than me, you know, and I cried about it, but then I went home and it made me work harder, you know, it made me want to practice more.
So what motivated you to pick up the guitar?
Poetry, really, because and feeling really confined to whatever cassette tapes at the time that I could get a hold of to sing with, and having to sing confined to that, you know, format. I really wanted to. I think my whole life I was born first a songwriter, a singer second.
Right.
Because I always had these ideas in my head, and I see songs in music videos, so like the video comes in my head as I'm writing the song.
Really?
Yeah. So I have like this music video idea in my head, and I couldn't get it out, so I started writing poetry. And then I met a guy, a high school crush, and he played guitar in a like garage band that played AC/DC, like every AC/DC album ever. And he taught me how to play guitar, so that's
So you
all.
can play some AC/DC then?
No. He taught me 3 chords, and he was like, "Okay, you're on your own." And then I went and learned every Loretta Lynn song you could imagine, and country song.
Well, that's okay. That's
And
basically
Patsy
3 chords anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. All the country songs.
Yeah,
really.
Elvis knew 3 chords,
Yeah.
and he made a pretty good career out of it. So, yeah, I think that's cool that you're visualizing a song as you're writing it. Like, it's actually playing out in your head. Because, I mean, if you can do that as a songwriter, then, I mean, obvious your audience is gonna see that as well.
Yeah, I love story songs. You know, I've been cut of that old cloth of the story song. You know, 50 Years was on this record, Like a Movie Scene, and it was one of the first times I was ever able to like completely, you know, tell a story and have it come to fruition in a song and be like, that is what I want people to hear.
Right.
You know,
So
it's that story.
So you just mentioned that you kind of view yourself as a songwriter first and a singer second. Does that mean you have separate influences for each? Would you say?
Yeah, I do agree with that statement. I think so. I think like all the lyric based songwriters I really dig into deeper.
Right.
But I
like
can
Rob
sit back,
Redwine.
Yeah, but I can sit back and enjoy a great vocal, you
Right.
know, a vocalist, just and enjoy that part of it, you know.
Right.
But definitely.
So have you heard of Sean McConnell yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, what is wrong with people?
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, we're playing you some
That's
Sean
how it was
McConnell
with Chris
later.
Stapleton a few years back. I was like, have y'all heard of Chris Stapleton? Everybody's like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
No, you've got. We'll turn you on to him before you
Cool.
leave. I've got 2 songs I want you to listen to.
Cool.
All right. So one thing we did mention earlier is you've had phenomenal success in independent music awards, and so I mean, even though Nashville's really hard for a songwriter, even though it is the best place probably for a songwriter as well, especially a story songwriter, it's really hard to get noticed out there as an independent artist. So. These awards, I mean, not Female Vocalist of the Year 2015. You've got like 3 or 4 nominations here. So I mean, when that starts happening for you, this late in your career, I mean, what does that do to your psyche?
Well, it was probably like the craziest moment in my life because my dad had just been diagnosed with a terminal illness when I found out about that award, and all I cared about was him going to this show because I'd always wanted him to get to go and see me win an award.
Right.
I feel like my entire career was driven by wanting my parents to be proud of me, but all along they were anyway.
Right.
And, you know, when I got that award, I was like, Dad, look, I won this award. He couldn't come because he was too sick to come to the show, but he was so tickled and so proud, and he said, baby, I was proud of you before you ever won that award.
Yeah.
And to me, I was done after that. I was like, who needs awards and charts? I just want to sing music and connect with people.
That's right.
And
It kind of takes
it
all
made
the
my
pressure
dad
off.
proud.
Right.
He was already proud of me all along. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes we just need to hear it.
Yeah.
I think, you know. And I mean, we have that in common. I lost my
Yeah.
dad recently as well, and you know, all of this stuff happened after I lost my dad. So he doesn't know that I'm talking to some of the best musicians and songwriters on the planet, and you know, even some of his heroes like Gene Watson and people like that
that's so
we've
cool.
interviewed. Ronnie Mills.
Was he a big music person too?
My dad, yes. He
Yeah.
was huge into traditional country,
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Hank Sr., Marty Robbins,
Oh,
you know,
love.
that 50s and 60s crowd.
Yeah.
My mom was more into like the 60s rock, like the rockabilly Elvis, you know, Jerry Lee, that whole
Yeah.
thing, and Motown and all that sound that came out of the 60s. And then when my dad and my mom met, my dad introduced my mom to traditional country, and then it was over. I had no choice but to be a country music fan.
Yeah.
Now, growing up in Massachusetts, though, that's a little bit weird because, you know, country music's not exactly huge up there. But you're also a huge fan of traditional country as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I cut my teeth on that stuff. I used to go ride with my dad in his old Ford pickup truck, and he would be, you know, pounding out the greats on his 8-track tape player in his truck, you know. He just like one after another, you have to fast forward it to your favorite song and flip it over. But yeah, he was he loved a lot of Southern rock too. So like the Southern rock I listened to a lot with him, you know. So
and that's kind of what's driving the Southern style of country nowadays. You know, what people call Americana is really kind of that country folk Southern rock blend that comes out of the southern portion of the country. I can't talk. So one thing you're very proud of is you have is it a couple of songs on Penny Rae's record?
Yeah, I actually got my first cut with a group called Penny Rae, and it was at the hairdresser. I was getting my hair done, and I let this girl listen to my song, and they had a little deal that they were working on with their album, and she's like, I have to let my producer listen to this. I love this song, and I want to sing this song. And I was like, what? Okay. So she took it, and they ended up cutting it as a single, and the producer was like, that needs to be your single off this record.
Wow.
And then the next album they cut was called 2, and that album they cut 6 of my songs that I either co-wrote or wrote.
Wow.
And it was like a 10 song, I think, or 11. But
so I mean, as a songwriter, that's got to be validated, right?
Yeah, it was. Like for the first time, I was like, other people want to sing my songs, not just me, you know, because a lot of this time we're like pushing our songs and trying to advertise ourselves, you know, as a product, and I hate that part of the industry, you know, and I hate marketing myself.
Let me ask you this as a songwriter, because I know even when you are a songwriter, and even if you're an accomplished songwriter, when you're putting together your own material, your own projects, you know, sometimes you do look outside of your own catalog, and that's how you found a Rob Redwine song.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, you know, as somebody who knows what she likes, because you write your own music, What is it that you're looking for when you start reaching beyond your own writing?
That feeling. There's a feeling, and I can't name it because it's beyond anything you can explain. It's like when Rob was sitting there playing that song, and my whole body, like, I got chills all over, and I was just like, this is something that I connected to, you know, way deeper than just through the heart and mind. It was like a moment, and I have to have that moment.
I have that moment a lot on
I
the
have
show.
to have that moment where it's like, okay, wow, this is, and I had that moment with Rob's song, for sure.
So do you feel that same connection? This is a good question. Do you feel that same connection with your own songs?
Yeah, they're like babies, but it's this song, for whatever reason, this song in particular just goes beyond anything I've ever written or anything I've ever been a part of. It's just one of those magical connections that I'm like, this was supposed to happen.
Very cool.
I was supposed to sing this song, and I was supposed to meet him, and we were supposed to write, and it's just cool.
And Rob is a super cool guy anyway, and like I said earlier, phenomenal songwriter. So when is the song going to be released?
I'm holding tight to it right now. I'm debating on the release date because there's a lot of legwork that I want to get done on the radio end of things before we release it. So definitely after the first of the year. I was going to hopefully release it before the end of the year, but I think we were going to push it back a little bit just to make sure we get it out right and get it out, you know, as far as it needs to go.
Very cool. And I think it's important to do things in the right time of things anyway, not rush things, because I mean, timing is everything in this business. Usually, a lot of the time. Now, one thing I found really curious about you is, you know, the first thing I heard you do was Sting, which I know is very important to you as a kind of a tribute to your dad. But I've also listened to a lot of your other stuff over the years since Heather's introduced me to you. And over the course of your career, your sound has changed. You know, it's gone from genre to genre. It's almost like you're jumping around. Maybe you get bored with a certain thing or whatever. But I would love to hear you talk about your own evolution as an artist over the course of all of this different change.
Well, I think I struggle with, I think I've always struggled with the genre because I feel like first and foremost I was born a songwriter. And so I think songwriters generally can kind of sway between genres easily because we hear lots of different influences and we have all this catalog of music that we've been influenced by, and we kind of pull from that when we need to. So I think that's what has happened to me, is growing as a songwriter has made me develop more as an artist. And
you feel like you know, your present influences or inspirations are also lending to the recipe of whatever you're doing right then and there?
Yeah, and I
think, you know, like, I mean, we might be driving down the road together and listen to a song, and we could be inspired by that song. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's just a little bit off center than what we're used to, and that can kind of bleed through to what you're doing as an artist. Do you find that happening a lot too?
Yeah, and I think I'm more open-minded now.
Right.
You know, the older we get, you know, when we're young, we're like tunnel vision. This is the music I'm going to listen to. You know, but as an artist doing what I do and out meeting all these people, I have so many more influences to pull from, and most of them are friends or people I've met in the songwriting business that I'm like, holy smokes, you're an amazing, you know, like Jamie Harris is one. She's in Austin, and I met her at the Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival last year. We have pulled from her music all the time. I listen to her when I want to get inspired to write. So, yeah, definitely. I think when I recorded my first record, I was in Dallas with Deep Blue Something, the guys that wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Man.
Do you know those guys?
Of course.
Oh, Todd and Toby?
I haven't met them, but I love that song.
So they recorded my first record.
Are you kidding me?
No.
All right, you're going to have to hook me up with some contact.
So they produced my first record in Dallas. It was called Bass Propulsion Studios. But yeah, those guys produced my record, my very first one. I just worked and saved up to put this record out. And I came.
Was this a country album?
It was more folk Americana.
Okay.
It was way more folky, lyrically, you know.
Right.
But I went into the studio trying to, you know, one day to record, and I heard this little girl in the studio in the sound booth. She was like this tall, you know. And I go in, I'm like, who is that singing in there? And they're like, oh, she sings around, you know, Dallas or whatever. That's Maren Morris. And I was like, do what? I was like, she's amazing. And so, like, she comes out and, you know, we meet and everything. We ended up playing a lot of the same towns and festivals and things when I was touring in Texas. But, you know, to hear her in that studio, you know, so phenomenal. And now to see her success, it's pretty cool, too. So, but that's how my music's evolved. You know, back then I was more narrow-minded, and I just really hadn't spread my wings musically, and now I feel like I can pull from all these amazing people I've met along the way and got to work with, like those guys.
And do you think that's just because maybe you were younger and maybe you were more tunnel focused and I need to be in this lane if I'm going to make it? Do you think like outside pressures were kind of
Todd and
influencing
Toby,
that?
I'll say this straight up. I kept asking Toby, I said, so what genre am I? You know, I said, where would you land me as far as radio? And he said, just tell everybody you're country. He's like, if you're going to Nashville, just tell everybody you're country. It doesn't matter what you sing. Just tell them you're country. And so that's what I started doing. And eventually my sound evolved into country, like old classic country. And it was what I did full circle. You know, I have this line in one of my songs, life is circular wrapped around my spirit, and in it I exist, you know, and in this moment, you know, and it's life is circular. It brings you back around to the things you know, like old country.
That's awesome. So I know one cool thing, there's a lot of cool things about Hope, but I was reading about you and kind of researching you, listening to your music, and you're a creative person even beyond music. You're also a painter, right?
Yeah. You know, and I hate to, like, you know, talk about it all the time, but this thing with my dad the last 2 years is such a pivotal point in my life that I keep bringing it up. But it got to where I couldn't write a song. I couldn't finish a song after he passed away. And, sorry, got a little emotional. But,
it's okay.
Yeah, but, so I pulled out this gift that my mother gave me. She was a painter. She was an oil painter. And I always watched her and I learned from her. And I started painting because I couldn't put things into words. And so it's just kind of
amazing painter too. I mean, I've only seen the one that you showed me, but oh my God, man!
I've started playing with that. You know, that is inspired by a guy. You know, we get all these inspirations too, but inspired by a guy down in Seaside, Florida. That his name's Justin Gaffrey, and he has a style that's called impasto, but he puts modeling paste in it, and it's more creative as far as texture. You know, the paintings stick up off the canvas.
Yeah,
like
it's almost
big.
like 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I
really,
fell in
really
love
cool.
with his style, and I tried to, you know, pull from it and, you know, not copy, but emulate and learn from it. And so
I mean, you're using art in several different ways as therapy for you.
Absolutely.
And it's also, I mean, not just for grief, but one thing that many people may not know about Hope is you also have MS, so it's also therapeutic for that, right? So tell us about going through that and how you're doing now.
Okay. So in 2010, I was working at a place called Beach to Taste Studios. It was a listening room, and I was helping them build their sound stage out and their recording studios and all this stuff. And I was their resident artist there, so I was going to live there for a year and write songs and help them build that out. And so I ended up waking. Yeah, I loved it. I woke up every day loving my life, but I woke up one day and I had trouble seeing, and it got worse and worse, and ended up in the hospital. And they sent me to the ER, and they said, we don't think this has anything to do with your eyes. It's neurological. Wow. And so it was like, whew, you know, heavy. But within 6 years, I got to the point where we were thinking about moving my bedroom downstairs, because I was having trouble getting up the stairs. I was having trouble touring because of the schedule and sleep. And so I reached out on different experimental trials, and I found one for stem cells, which is unique because the stem cells that I got, they took from my love handles, which was a 2-for-1 deal for me as a woman. I was like, yes! They'll take my love handles away. And he's like, no, we only need 2 tubes. I was like, no, can you take like as many as you need?
Yeah, we might need some backups.
Yeah, we need backups. But I got this stem cell transplant, which was a crazy procedure. But within since April 21st of last year, I've had 0 symptoms of MS.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's been pretty cool. And I noticed on the way out here, even driving, like I remember touring those last few months.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you, because I know when you're kind of in that position for a very long time, everything can kind of just shut down on you really quickly without you even realizing it's happening.
Yeah, like we would go to, me and my fiddle player went to Alaska and toured, and we did 20 shows in 24 days.
Oh my gosh.
But by like show 8, I was in trouble. Like I was like, I may need to go get, you know, an infusion. And be in a hospital, and so I went and got a steroid injection, you know, while I was up there. But you know, it's crazy. It was taking its toll on me touring-wise. And so this was amazing. The Ocean Springs Stem Cell Treatment Center gave me my life back, basically.
Awesome.
And it doesn't work for everyone.
Right.
It's still experimental, you know, but 70% of patients are finding that it halts their MS right where it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that.
I know. I
So
love
going
it.
through this experience, has it changed you as a musician, as an artist at all?
Oh, yeah, in every way. You know, I think like having your wings clipped, so to speak.
Right.
It makes you value every single moment you get more. Like, I used to sit down, I was kind of getting, you know, a little burnout before I was diagnosed with MS on music, because I've been touring for years, you know.
Right.
And I was like, when's it ever going to happen, you know? And I finally got to a point where I was like, you know, I really, you know, I'm not sure if I can do this anymore, you know, with the MS. But after getting my wings clipped, I felt like I'm so thankful for every single music experience I have, every time I get to go on the road. And I stand up and sing every time I can. I don't sit on a stool.
So it just made you
know,
learn how to not take things for granted.
Yeah, not taking those things for granted.
That's very cool. Okay, so there are a couple of things that you're working on soon. I'm assuming this is for the new record that you're working on. And that's a Patreon site and also a Kickstarter that's coming soon.
Yeah.
So as somebody who has a podcast that I don't really make a whole lot of money at, I've been thinking about doing a Patreon site. So tell us what a Patreon site is and how does it help you? And does it work for you?
Well, I haven't launched it yet.
Okay.
I'm in the process of launching.
So what's the
that
thought
and
process
Kickstarter.
behind it then? What are you thinking?
I've witnessed some of my other friends in the music industry utilizing it. You know, that we had to come up, I think, as artists once streaming became so popular.
Right.
To, you know, creative ways to keep afloat and stay artists and keep being true to who we are.
Right.
So, you know, fans are inevitably always wanting to give back. You know, when they fall in love with music, they want to help you. And this is a way for them to be able to support that art and see you continue to tour and see you to continue to paint.
And the cool thing is, like a Patreon site is they're not just giving you money. You're actually giving them something also that's exclusive.
It's more like a behind the scenes
Right.
for you into the world. So
Exactly.
like, you know, we're sitting here doing this and not only would you see this, but you would see the pre-takes or the outtakes or the, you know, you could see around the room, or, you know, we'll take you for a ride in my car as I'm touring with my cat, or, you know, my cat used to sleep in the back window of my car.
That's awesome.
But, you know, you get to see all the fun stuff. Maybe I'll show you the load-in process, which isn't fun at a gig. You know, I don't know, but
You get to see the stuff with all the bleeps and all that stuff.
And you get to hear new music and cuts that maybe we'll never release, you know. So
I think it's a really smart
gifts
idea
back.
for artists to kind of have a connection that doesn't exist with a fan, even with social media. I mean, you can have a connection with a fan on a personal level, but never find a way to have that personal relationship support you as an artist beyond, you know, somebody liking your Facebook or following you on Twitter or something. This gives a fan an opportunity to say down the road, hey, do you see this record? I helped with this. You know, maybe it was only $7, but hey, I helped make this record. And I think that's a really cool thing about this day and age is a lot of independent artists, they don't need to go into a studio and spend $100,000 on a project now. And a fan can, or fans can really drive that bus for an artist.
And it also gives me the opportunity, like one of the things I want to do with my Patreon site is be able to make hospital visits to patients. I went and saw a friend of mine's daughter, Kylie, recently, you know, and sing for her in the hospital. But it was in Birmingham. It's a lot of travel, and you stay overnight, things like that. So there's things that, you know, it would allow me to be able to go out and give my gift back more easily, because obviously, you know, as starving artists and us touring all the time trying to make ends meet, it's tough.
Very cool.
But it'll give me a chance to go back and give back to others every month.
So you guys definitely need to be checking that out. She's going to be launching both of those very shortly. And I will tell you at the end of the episode where you can follow along with all of Hope's stuff and see where that stuff happens. So guys, we're going to be right back after this quick message, and we're going to play What the Heck with Hope Cassity.
Hi, this is Rob Redwine, and thanks for listening to the ETX ROCKS Show.
All right, guys, so we are back with Hope Cassity, and if you guys have followed along with the ETX ROCKS Show, you probably know that we like to play a little game with every guest that we have on the show. And typically, a lot of the times, that game is called What the Heck. And so Hope has no idea what's going on. We haven't talked about this beforehand. Exactly.
What the
And
heck?
that's why we're playing this. She's already won the game. Damn. But that's okay. All right, so basically, Hope, the way this works is I'm going to ask you 10 ridiculous questions
Okay.
that have very little meaning.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get a rise out of you, and I want you to talk about the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
So just answer with the first thing.
Okay.
And this is all PG, so.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, make sure you say that.
Yes. Okay, guys, so this is What the Heck with Hope Cassity. All right, so number one, what is another word for thesaurus?
I don't know. What the heck?
No, that's not another word for thesaurus.
A book.
Okay, a book, that'll work. All right, number two, what do you think cats dream about?
Catnip.
That is the go-to answer. What if it's a cat that's never had catnip, though? They wouldn't even know it existed, so how could they dream about it?
Oh, then they would dream about clawing the crap out of the couch.
Okay, very cool. I could see that. All right, so if you were, I just want you, theoretically, you're a cannibal.
Okay.
So do you think clowns would taste funny?
Oh, I would never eat a clown.
Why?
Because I'm scared to death of them.
That would be the reason why you would want to eat a clown.
No, I couldn't even look at it to eat it.
All right, number four.
Unless it tasted like icing,
Well, how would you know unless you actually tasted
then
it?
I wouldn't know. I guess I wouldn't know.
What, would you just like ask the clown first? Stay back. Do you taste
Yeah,
like
can I
icing?
have one taste, please? No.
Exactly.
Can I get a sample spoon?
Yeah.
Right.
Sample
All right.
ice cream.
Sample clown tasting.
Yeah.
All right, number four. Now, you can be stranded on a deserted island with any famous person, alive or dead. Okay, so I want you to tell me who that is, and then you have to name 3 items you would need to keep that person entertained.
I hate that this is PG. It would be Ryan Gosling. And I would need a feather boa, an umbrella. I don't know what for yet. I'll figure that out in a minute.
Ryan Gosling, if you're watching
And-
out there, he probably just went,
And some sunscreen so that I could put it all over his back.
makes no sense. She has an umbrella. Why would she need a sunscreen?
To keep him shielded from the sun.
Oh.
So it didn't burn his pretty body.
Ryan, she loves you. Just don't trust her with that umbrella.
He's my only celebrity crush. I don't have any other celebrity crushes.
Just don't trust her with the umbrella.
Although when he
I'm gonna
did
tag him in
well,
this
although
now.
when he did the movie Drive, I was like, I don't know about this. I'm not sure. He's not so hot in this movie.
All right, so moving on. Ryan, I got your back. All right, number
Call me.
5.
Call me.
Number 5. How annoying do you find baby pictures on social media?
Oh, you know the ones I like? I like the ones where the baby goes in the pantry and gets into the flour bag and has flour all over the kitchen, or you go in the bathroom and they found mom's lipstick and it's all over.
So
the
you're just
entire-
like looking for other people's misery. Is
Yeah,
what it is.
basically, because I don't have kids and I'm like, ha
That's not fair.
ha. You had kids, I don't. You have to deal with this and clean it up, I don't.
All right, number 6. Where do you think squirrels go during hurricanes?
Probably in the roof of my old house.
All of them?
Probably. No.
Holy cow, that would be a lot of squirrels.
No, when we were in Nashville when the May floods happened.
Yeah.
And like we found massive amounts of rodents and spiders and like crazy stuff in our house because we were literally up on an island. Like all the streets were flooded around us and our house was the only.
Did someone named Noah ever live in this house?
No. But they needed to because we needed an ark because the whole Grand Ole Opry was full of water.
That's what I'm saying. All right, number 7. Don't you think hitting the snooze button is just reliving the worst part of your day over and over again?
The news button?
The snooze button.
Oh. I thought you said
Fake
the news.
news.
Yeah, I was like the news button. Which one is that?
CNN bad.
Which one is the news button? No, the snooze button. I hate alarm clocks.
Okay.
I literally don't like. Okay, ask me the question again.
All right, so again, I'm going to ask again because she was thinking about the news.
Yes.
Number 7, isn't hitting the snooze button just reliving the worst part of your day over and over again?
Yeah, probably.
Because really, the worst time of our day is when we wake up.
Yeah.
I think probably.
I don't like waking up to an alarm clock because it sends me. My heart is racing so bad because it scares the bejesus out of me when it goes off.
So how do you wake up?
I don't ever set an alarm clock. I just make myself get up. I do not. I hate the alarm. I hate the alarm.
So how often are you late? You must be late all the time.
No, I
Really?
just have like this clock. Like I can tell myself like I have to be up early, and I'm a sleeper. I'll sleep till noon. You know, so it's not because of that. But if I'll just tell myself like I have to get up by this time, and I can usually. And legitimately, I've been living with an alarm clock for 10 years.
Wow.
Hate them. That bah, bah, bah.
And if she did have to wake up to an alarm clock, she would wake up in the hospital.
I wake up like straight up. We were in Alaska tour and I was on the bottom bunk and my roommate set the alarm and I like literally went straight up into the bunk. And I was like, damn. I was like,
awesome.
no, that's why I don't like alarm clocks.
No wonder why she needed the doctor after
I hate
8
alarm
days
clocks.
up there.
Yeah. We were in the North Pole too to make that story funnier. We literally were in the North Pole.
Oh man. All right, so I would say speaking of the North Pole, but penguins are not from the North Pole, they're from the South Pole. But if a penguin walked through that door right there, right now, wearing a sombrero on his head, why do you think he's here and what does he say?
He's here to serve us tacos.
Okay, cool.
Because he's late for Taco Tuesday.
He's early. It's Monday.
Early. What day is it?
How long were you on the road, Hope?
11 hours. I'm telling you. That's why this doesn't make sense.
Because he's late.
What day is it?
Today is Monday.
He's early, or he's late for last Monday. That's
He's extremely
late, bringing us Taco Tuesday.
Number 9. She's trying to see my questions.
Oh, sorry, I can't look.
All right. So number 9. Have you ever seen Donald Duck wearing pants? Personally, I haven't.
No, and I love those cartoons.
Okay, so if Donald Duck never wears pants, now you can't think of a time, because I know I can't think of a time where he's wearing pants.
No.
So then why in the world does he wrap himself in a towel when he gets out of the shower?
Oh, that's a good question. Because he's cold.
So, I don't get it. Like, he just got out of the shower, though.
Yeah, I'm always freezing when I get out of the shower. Are you not freezing when you get out of the shower?
Well, I mean, sometimes, but I mean, I guess I just don't wrap. I don't see a towel as like a warming device.
I do. I put mine in the dryer before I get it. I do. I literally warm my towels up in the dryer, then take them and hang them on the shower hook, and then get in the shower.
That's awesome.
I'm very cold-natured generally.
All right, so that leads me to this question. Last one, number 10. How often, weekly, on average, do you hurt yourself attempting to dance in the shower?
My shower is very small.
So it just holds you up while you're dancing?
I can barely, like, put my arms out like this to shampoo my hair. And these are the days of my life. But yes, so I don't, unless I did this, it would be very hard to dance.
I think the tagline of this episode is going to be squirrels in the attic and midget showers. All right, so that was What the Heck with Hope Cassity. Thanks for being a good sport.
Definitely What the Heck.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
I'm still waiting for the right answer for Donald Duck. I don't know.
I want to know.
I wish I knew.
I knew.
We've had a lot of good answers to that. So you're going to play another song for us, aren't you, Hope?
Yeah.
So tell us about the song.
I haven't played this one in a while. So
what is it?
If it's rough, I'm sorry.
No, dude.
So this is the song Sting. This is probably my the most personal and sentimental song that I've ever written. But the crazy thing is that I wrote it 4 years before it came to become my truth.
Yeah.
Which was really crazy. So I was at the Pensacola Songwriter Festival, and I got to a barbecue early to a meeting to meet some hit songwriters because I wanted a network. And they said, well, there aren't many hit songwriters here. So I was eating barbecue. There's about 5 people, including the bartender and me. And I'm pushing my chair back like this, and I fall over backwards into 2 dudes behind me.
Gosh.
Almost fall into, one of them slapped me and says, hey there, the little lady. And I said, well, I was trying to find some hit songwriters, but nobody's here. And he says, hi, I'm Jim McBride. And he's had like 40 #1 hits or something crazy. And then he says, and this is Jerry Salley. And
what?
I was like, what? And so I got to sit with them, and they were like, come join us. So we ate lunch, and they said, hey, we want to hear some of your music. So I gave them a CD, and they said, hey, come over. You know, we're just hanging out before the show.
What dimension was this in?
In Pensacola, Florida, that dimension.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I was at the Songwriter Festival and just hanging out and met them, and I go over to their condo, and I'm playing around with this idea of this song, and Jerry goes, man, that's pretty good. Let me hear that. Are you just writing that? And I said, yeah. And he said, hold on. And he goes and gets Jim. He's like, Jim, come here. So we worked on it for about 2.5 hours before the show. And on the way back from the Pensacola Songwriter Festival, I had to pull over on the side of the road because Jerry Salley called my phone. And he said, I just want to tell you, I don't say this very often, but I've been listening to your music, and you're really talented as a songwriter. And he said, I just want to let you know that, and I want us to finish our song. I think it's really good. So I went back up to Nashville. My mom and dad got to sit in for the session. We finished the song, and years later, it became my truth.
So this is a co-write with you, Jim McBride, and Jerry Salley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so guys, if you don't know who Jim McBride and Jerry Salley is, right at the end of this episode, Google their names and just make sure you have a tissue to get all that drool off, because your jaw's gonna drop. That is amazing.
And what was even more special was, you know, my dad got to hear us, you know, finish writing it and do the work tape for it. And then Rebecca Lynn Howard, who was one of my idols, she did the demo, you know, when we recorded it in the studio to pitch it.
Wow.
And my dad always loved the demo. He's like, that's the best song you've ever written, you know. And it meant so much to him because it was based off of his story from his first transplant. And then, long story short, we ended up, when Dad got terminal, he asked me to record that, and he wanted my voice on it for his celebration of life. And I was like, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But my team surrounded me, my musicians, my producer, Jason Schmidt. He comes in, he's like, we got your back. And they made it real lighthearted. We went in the studio and we recorded a behind-the-scenes video for my dad so that he could be there. And that's what the video for Sting is.
Very cool. So guys, make sure you check this out. This is called Sting by the one and only Hope Cassity.
7 years old on the backyard swing, fell off and I skinned my knee. Daddy ran out to rescue me. He wiped off all the dirt. He said, baby, don't you cry so much. And calloused hands with the softest touch took alcohol and a cotton ball. Said, this is gonna hurt. It's gonna sting, burn like the devil, like it ain't ever gonna stop. Sting, no, it ain't gonna kill you. I promise you it's not. It's just a temporary thing, but it's gonna sting for a little while. It's gonna sting. 10 years later, neath the midnight moon, red dirt road and a George Strait, I feel hard like first loves do. Gave more than my heart away. But that feeling didn't last too long. Got what he wanted and then moved on. Mama said you'll get over him, but until that day, it's gonna sting, burn like the devil, like it ain't ever gonna stop. Sting, no, it ain't gonna kill you. I promise you it's not. It's just a temporary thing, but it's gonna sting for a little while. It's gonna sting. In 10 years, sorry. I hadn't sang it in a while and I'm emotional. late last night in a hospice room. Daddy said, baby, I love you. I'm tired, my time here's through. But this ain't the end. Then a calloused hand with the softest touch wiped a tear as he reached up. Said, I'll see you again someday. But baby, until then, it's gonna sting. Burn like a devil, like it ain't ever gonna stop. Sting. No, it ain't gonna kill you. I promise you it's not. It's just a temporary thing. Sometimes pain's a price that live and breathe. But it's gonna sting for a little while. It's gonna sting.
All right, guys. So that was "Sting" by Hope Cassity. Sometimes pain is, what is it?
The price that
the
living
price that
brings.
living brings. Incredible, incredible stuff. That's what it's about, man. Music is about those lyrics that just drive you nuts and pull your soul in and tie it in a knot and then just throw you down the road. And that's what music's supposed to be about, guys. And that's what Hope Cassity brings to the table. So tell us more about what you're doing. This is an old record. It's called Like a Movie Scene. And so tell folks out there where they can get a copy of your music and when you have new stuff coming.
So my website is Hope Cassity Tours, and it's Cassity. It's hopecascitytours.com. You can purchase CDs through there. You can also download stuff off of them on iTunes and CD Baby and all that stuff. And I'm hoping, like I said, after the first of the year is when we're going to start releasing new music. But there's going to be a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff to catch between now and then, because that's when all the real stuff happens,
Exactly.
the work and the behind-the-scenes. And we're going to be in the studio in a lot in November.
And is Sting
December.
available anywhere?
Sting is. The video for that is on my website
Okay.
at hopecassity.com.
Beautiful, beautiful video.
You
by the
actually
way.
get to hear my dad at the end of that, which
Okay.
is pretty special. He says, baby, that's going to be your number one at the end of it, which was one of the sweetest things he's ever said to me. I just thought it was so cool. He was just loved that song. But yeah, I'll be on iTunes and all that stuff. So the rest of this year is just working on getting that new music done and getting it
Very
ready,
cool.
and then it'll go on.
And so where can folks follow along with Hope Cassity on social media?
Oh, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, all of the above. So
I think
can
you have a
find me
YouTube
there.
as well, right?
And YouTube, yeah, all of those.
Right.
Yeah,
And so
all
guys,
those
it's Hope Cassity. That's HopeCassity. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and it's HopeCassityTours.com.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, where would you send folks, like a venue that wants to book Hope Cassity for a show?
Any booking stuff?
Yeah.
It would be my website as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hope Cassity Tours is probably the best place to get all of that stuff.
Yeah.
They can find out where you're playing, book you, and,
Yeah.
and all social media links is probably all on
It'll
there
all
as
be
well.
changing over the next little bit. It'll be under construction a little bit as we get the new material out. But you'll get to see it change if you go ahead and sign up for the mailing list now.
Very cool.
So,
And that's a new thing too that a lot of artists need to start doing, is the whole mailing list thing. That's how artists got the word out back in the day, is the actual mailing lists where you would get snail mail.
yeah.
Is that what you're doing, or is it just an email list?
Yeah, no, I'm actually we're going to put it on a secret show after the first of the year, which will be a preview of that.
Well, it's not a
of the
secret
album.
anymore. You're telling folks.
Well, it'll be a secret because we're not announcing the time, date, or place or venue.
Okay.
Only to the people who sign up on the mailing list. They will get and give us their address that they want to come. Then they'll get a personal invitation. It's going to be an old school invitation.
Very cool.
Printed on paper.
Sounds like fun.
And mailed with the stamp.
So you guys make sure you're signing
know
up
what
for
that
the
is.
mailing list, especially you guys that are already following Hope.
Yeah.
I'm sure, knowing Hope for as short of a time as I have, she's very connectable, very down to earth, very humble, and I'm sure she wants to meet all of y'all and connect with as many folks as she can. So make sure you're
Absolutely.
signing up for that. And I know, most artists like to have their fans comment and post and message and all of that stuff. So I would definitely encourage your fans to do the same. Reach out, talk to Hope.
Yeah.
She's a really cool artist, and I'm sure she would love to hear from y'all. All right, guys, so you guys have been tuned into another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. First time ever having Hope Cassity on the show. I definitely want to thank you for taking time out of your day after 11 hours of driving to get here. Still got about an hour to go until you get to your location.
Yeah.
And she's playing a couple of shows here in East Texas. Then you're going back to Georgia, and then I noticed you're coming back to Texas again, and then back to Georgia.
Yeah.
So if you're in Georgia and you're in Texas, make sure you're checking out the website, HopeCassityTours.com, to find out where this young lady's going to be playing in the future.
Dripping Springs, too. I'll be in Dripping Springs if we have any Austin fans out
Yeah,
there. Dripping
I
Springs
did notice
Songwriter
that.
Festival.
And that's coming up in October.
Yeah, and that's one of the greatest songwriter festivals I've ever been a part of. I mean, they're doing it right down there. So check it out, Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival.
Absolutely. And again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Guys, if you're tuning into the ETX ROCKS Show for the first time, you can definitely follow along with us. We're also located on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're at ETX ROCKS. If you're tuning in on YouTube, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button for free. And we definitely would appreciate that, because we're getting close to those 1,000 subscribers, and everything changes on YouTube when we reach that level. So please hit that subscribe button, and it won't hurt you, I promise. Maybe a little, who knows. We kind of do put a lot of content out, so. But hit the subscribe button. If you're tuned in on iTunes, we definitely want to thank you guys as well. If you have a little free time, hit that rate and review button. That'll definitely help us rise up on the podcast charts on iTunes. We definitely appreciate that. If you want to tip us or donate to the ETX ROCKS Show, you can do that at paypal.me/ETX ROCKS, and hopefully someday we can get out of my living room. But as we always say on this show, we want to thank you guys out there for supporting live music, and don't you ever forget,
ETX rocks.
That's right.
Howdy, folks. This is Aaron Watson.
This is Bree Bagwell.
This is Jake. And this is Walter from Rocky Queen. This is Curtis Grimes. Monty Pittman.
This is Doug Supernon.
I'm Heather Little.
This is Rob Redwan.
Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Lynn, and make sure to tune in to ETX Rocks with
Boston Chris.
Hello, y'all. This is Ronnie Millsap, and thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Tough guy. Ho!
Hey guys, we're Blacktop Mojo, and thank you for tuning in to ETX Rocks.